everyone, this is Srishti Rathore, and in this video I'll be talking about all the publishing mistakes that I made while publishing my first book so that you don't make the same mistakes and you learn from my lessons. But first, I have to give you some important disclaimers. Number one is that I'm only sharing my personal experience with publishing my first book, which did not go very well. So this video is not a tutorial on how to publish your book. In fact, it's a tutorial on how not to publish your book. So keep that in mind. Disclaimer number two is that I will not be naming any person, company, agency, etc. in this video because the purpose here is not to defame anyone or to show hatred towards a specific person or agency, but to create awareness among new authors who may fall into the same trap and sort of make the same mistakes that I did. Disclaimer number three is that I used the self-publishing route, and so these mistakes may or may not apply to traditional publishing or your individual situation. I still suggest watching the whole video so that you get the idea of how things should not be done in self-publishing and how they probably should be done in traditional publishing in few ways. Well, with those disclaimers out of the way, let's dive into the video. Oh yeah, if you have no idea about self-publishing, if you're a newbie and you're just thinking about publishing and you just got confused when I talked about self-publishing and traditional publishing, then well, I just have a small brief explanation from Google so that you're on the proper context while watching my mistakes and so that you understand everything perfectly well. Here's the definition. Self-publishing refers to an author completing the entire publishing process, including printing, editing, proofreading, formatting, cover design, and book marketing on their own or with their own resources. This is done without the help of a traditional publisher or publishing company. By that, what I want you to understand essentially is that in self-publishing, the author uses their own resources. We use our own money for the production and marketing of the book, and we are the complete owners and there is no rights shared with the publication house. We can do all of these things ourselves as authors, or we can of course hire an intermediary publication house. We can hire a publication house, and there are these publication companies who are basically the agencies which produce the book, they market the book, but they do not get the profit out of it because you pay them, you as the author, pay them a one-time fee from which they have to manage the production and marketing costs, and whatever is left is their commission. That's how it works, and that is the method that I used for my book. And during this process, I made a few mistakes, a lot of mistakes actually, as you will see in this video, but there are better ways to do it as well, which I'll explain later. For now, let's just dive into the mistakes. Mistake number one that I did is not doing enough active research before signing a publication deal with the publishing house. What is active research? Well, before that you need to understand passive research, which refers to you browsing the internet, reading books about publishing, reading articles, watching YouTube videos about publishing houses and publication and self-publishing and all of those topics. All of that is passive research. The issue with passive research is that when you do it, when you read those books, when you watch these YouTube videos like mine, all of this information is very general information and it varies from person to person. It very heavily depends on the person who is sharing the experience. Like I mentioned in my disclaimers that I'm just sharing my experience. You don't have to be tainted with everything that I said, right? This is the exact issue with passive information, passive research that I did very well. Active research, on the other hand, means taking enough initiative to reaching out to authors and clients and getting experience from them personally. When I say authors and clients, I mean authors who have self-published before, who have self-published in a very brilliant way. And when I say clients, I mean clients of the specific publishing house that you are looking to sign a deal with. Active research, doing this sort of active research where you reach out to the clients and you would take this feedback from them directly. Do not take feedback from the client's testimonial which is on this publishing house's website, which is a mistake that I did. Because of course, when we put out testimonials, we only use the best ones. We don't share the worst ones. As a business, nobody is going to share their negative experience. They're only going to share their positive, best client in the world on their website. So don't just look at their website, because again, looking at the website is just passive research. It's not active. Active is directly reaching out to people, which I think I sort of did. But the biggest mistake I made with my active research is that I inclined myself and I just asked this publishing house person, let's just call this person a manager. Whenever you hire a publishing house for your self-publishing process, when you give them a one-time fee, they will give you one representative who is going to manage everything. They will call this person your manager or executive or whatever, they'll just have a name for this person. I'm going to call them manager for the sake of this video. And this person is going to manage everything. They are the intermediary source between you and all the services, everything that's happening about your book. So I spoke to this manager, the person who convinced me to take this publishing deal with them. I spoke to this manager and this person was like, why don't you check out the latest book that came out in our publishing house, check out so-and-so author, so-and-so book. And they gave me their email address and I was very happy to reach out to the author. I spoke to this author personally, this client, and they were just praising this company. The mistake here is the fact that I took this client information, this person's information, this recommendation from the publishing house's manager itself. Now, this manager is of course a very good business person, and so they would only direct me towards people, towards authors or clients who have had a good experience with them. They are not going to tell me who or which authors have had a bad or negative experience with the same publishing house. So this is the mistake that I made. I just used their direct recommendation and I just spoke to those specific authors who these publishing house people sort of marketed to me. Mistake number 2 that I made is trusting the manager too much. Yes, this is I think the biggest mistake and the core of all the other mistakes that propped up, because I believe that I trusted this manager, this one person, too much, who was assigned to me by the publishing house. I had this mindset that, this person has been in the industry for so long, they have been doing this for years, so definitely they know more about book publishing, self-publishing, everything else. They know a lot more than I do, so I'm going to trust everything that they say and I'm going to go ahead with them because they know what's best for me. However, being in that headspace, I completely forgot that the aim of this manager, the true aim of this manager, is not to make money for me or my book, but for themselves, because that is their job. If my book makes money, they don't get paid for it. Only I get the whole profit, because that's the whole deal about self-publishing. Why do you self-publish? Because you get the whole profit. So this company only gets paid their one-time fee, out of which they have to do all the production, and whatever is left is their commission. That's how it works. So for example, if I paid this company X amount for production and marketing, and that includes services like editing, typesetting, formatting, book cover design, etc., they are in charge of these services. Their true aim is to save up as much as possible on these services. They are going to cheap out on these services and they're going to try to make maximum profit out of this commission that they're trying to get. Right? Which is completely different from your aim, because you do not want to cheap out on your book. You want the quality of the editing, typesetting, formatting, etc., all of the services, you want the quality to be high, which is exactly not their aim. They are going to make you think that that is what is their aim, but it is not. Mistake number 3 is not having full control over my book, which is one of the biggest advantages, which is supposed to be the biggest advantage of self-publishing, is that one, you get full profit, and second, you have full control over your book. Now, what really happened over here is, again, it stems from the fact, from my myth, the belief that I had that, this manager knows just everything and I have to follow them. So I did not try to micromanage them. I did not ask enough questions, and when I think about it now, I was not in control of anything, whereas they made me feel that I'm in control of everything. Because when it came to the artistic side of things, they would definitely ask me, but when it came to the financial side of things, I had no clue what was going on. At that point, I was this people pleaser person. I did not want to sound bossy, or I did not want to be that difficult client. I wanted to be a good client who knows exactly how it is. So that's a newbie mindset. When you're the first time author, you are inclined to believe these people more. And so in that headspace, I lost control over a lot of things. The only thing I had full control over was the editing. The editor was the only person that I spoke to, because there is no way editing can work if the editor is not working with the author directly. But now I've really not spoken to the book cover designer, to the typesetter, the formatter, the printer. I have no idea what all these people did, because I know that they did a lot of work and their names and etc. are inside of the book, and I'm grateful to them for doing all of that. But I wish I was more involved in this entire process and I had not tried to be the people pleaser, good client for my manager. Because obviously, when you are not a difficult client, they take you to be the easy client who they can just spin around their finger, and they would just know that, oh, this person believes me, so I can do whatever I want. Mistake number 4 is not verifying the cost breakdowns. Again, this stems from the fact that I was too afraid to ask questions and be this difficult client. When I signed on the publishing deal, they just said that, oh, you have to pay us this X amount, it is a package. All these publishing companies that I'm talking about, they have their own packages. Starter package, popular package, premium package, exclusive packages, they'll just name it like that. They have all of these packages and they'll tell you that each package includes certain amount of services. The starter one will probably only have the typesetting, the printing. The second one will have probably editing. The third will have more editing and more marketing, and that's how they go. So they have this package and they will tell you that under this package we are doing all of these things, which is fine. Okay, do a package thing. However, the mistake which I think that I did today is not asking the breakdown of each of those services. For example, if my service is including editing, typesetting, formatting, I should have asked them, hey, how much are you spending on editing? How much are you paying the editor? How much are you paying the typesetter? How much are you paying the formatter? Or how much are you paying the book cover artist? I should have asked all the cost breakdowns, and then I should have asked how much commission out of this money are you getting yourself? I think I have the right to ask that today. Back then I used to think, oh, I just paid them the package amount. I don't think I'm justified to ask. But now when I look back, I realize that I should have asked all of these questions. I should have asked this person that, hey, I have given you this money. You are using my money. So I have the full right, full justification to know where exactly you are using those resources. Because this is, for one, your right as the author, and number 2, it makes them alert. It gives them the authority. It shows them that you are authoritative enough, you're courageous enough, and you're not an idiot with whom they can mess with. Also, I think money is a very important factor in self-publishing, because in traditional publishing, usually the author does not give any money for the production cost. Marketing is a different thing, but still, I don't think in traditional publishing the author has to pay anything for the production of the book. But here in self-publishing, since you are paying for the production services and the commission of these people, it's very important to have the commission as well as all the other breakdowns on the contract. If they are telling you, no, this is a package, we have in-house editors, we have in-house typesetters. This is again a very common thing. They will tell you that they have in-house typesetters who are just employees of this publishing house. Even then, despite that, ask them how much exactly, what is the breakdown. Also, as I said, which again stems from the fact of taking full control, try to meet all of these people. The typesetter, the book designer, the whoever is involved in this process, just meet all of them and not just your manager. So that is why I'm telling you, just make sure that this person, whoever is being the intermediate for your book, is actually using the finances in the right places and is not actually just cheaping out on your money. The 5th mistake I made is not asking for all the deadlines to be stated clearly on the contract itself. One other tactic that these publishing companies, the self-publishing companies, are going to use is that they, on their website, they will market saying that, oh, we will publish your book within 90 days. No, it's going to take a lot longer than that. They know this. That's why they're not going to put that 90 days or whatever deadline on their contract. They usually will not. If they are doing it by themselves, well and good, maybe trust them. Not blindly, but maybe trust them. They're probably good. But in my case, this publishing company did not mention any deadlines on the contract, which I think was a big mistake. I should have just put my foot down and told them that I want all the deadlines. If you're providing me these services, by when will these services get finished? Give me a tentative deadline and give me a final deadline. And if you're not able to complete it till the final deadline, you will refund me my money, or some sort of clause like that, which makes them obligated to finish everything on time as much as you want it. If they are marketing on their website saying that they will finish it in 90 days, maybe give them 120 days or 150 days on the contract, but mention those days on the contract itself, so you have the power, the authority to be assertive about these deadlines. And I'm also specifically talking about the marketing processes, because the production process is comparatively easier than the marketing process. So they might even give you the production thing on the contract, but they will probably not give you the marketing on the contract. So make sure you have the marketing services as well listed on the contract. In my case, it's been 2 years since the publication of my first book, and this agency has still not completed the marketing services that they promised me. They have done like a few of them, but a few of them, they have just surpassed it. They have not completed all of them. They have mentioned it on the contract, but they have not mentioned a deadline, a time limit as to when they will complete it. Now, if I call this person up and be like, hey, you haven't finished this, and he'll be like, oh, I'll get back to you within 5 days, within 10 days, because I am outsourcing this thing or whatever, they'll have 100 excuses for you. And one reason I'm making this video is because I'm completely mad about this fact that these publishing agencies are just taking your money, your time, your efforts, your book for granted, which is not okay. So if you are going to take away one key takeaway from this video, it is going to be this, that please be assertive, please be courageous enough to ask for exactly what you want, and do not sign the contract if they do not have all these clauses that I mentioned in this video. If they're not giving you clear deadlines, if they're not giving you cost breakdowns, if they're not answering all your questions even after you paid them the money, then don't sign this deal. It's much better than to regret later. Now, most of you will think that, oh, self-publishing is crap. Srishti, you should have gone the traditional publishing way. I get it. I get that complete feeling, and it's not that I did not think about traditional publishing. There are a lot of pros and cons of self-publishing and traditional publishing, and I will be talking about all of that in a future video. Make sure to subscribe. But what I'm saying here is that there are methods to do self-publishing in the right way, and there are many authors who have done it, who have made it amazingly well. Few big names are, I think, Ashwin Sanghi and Amish Tripathi that come to my mind when I think of Indian authors who did self-publishing amazingly. Few foreign authors, that is US authors, I think one would be Jenna Moresi, Abby Emmons. All of these people have done amazing job at self-publishing and making a full-time living out of their self-published books. That's a big deal, right? So please do not think that self-publishing is crappy just based on my experience. I shared these mistakes with you guys and I noted them in my mind so that in future I will not be making this mistake. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. This is me, Srishti Rathore, signing off, and see you next week.